Seahawks win 16-6. They improve to 6-5 on the season. They improve to 2-3 in the division, and they're 1-0 against the Cardinals. And oh boy, does that ever matter. Go over the scoring plays. Nothing in the first quarter. Second quarter, Chad Ryland connects from 35 yards out to give the Cardinals a 3-0 lead. But with 1:14 left, Geno Smith finds JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba for a 3-yard touchdown, 7-3 at the half. Third quarter, right in the middle, 7:12 left, pretty close to in the middle anyway. Kobe Bryant, a 69-yard interception return. They do miss the PAT, but it gives them a 13-3 lead. Fourth quarter, Chad Ryland connects from 22 yards out. That makes it 13-6. And the Seahawks put the game away with a Jason Myers 50-yard field goal, 16-6. Seahawks win. I don't think you could overestimate how much they needed to win this game. And was it a beautiful game? Nope. It was a little bit bully ball. It was a little bit reminiscent of the Seahawks of like 2011, that time, where you look pretty good defensively. The offense has some stuff that it's going through, but it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to see a bully ball game because you dominated defensively. We'll get into all of that. But we always start with the negative in a win, and there's just a couple of negatives, really. You could say there's really only one. It kind of all perks together. The offensive line stinks. It's just not a good offensive line. They generate no push whatsoever in the run game, and they struggle in pass protection. 25 attempts today for 65 yards. 16 attempts today for Kenneth Walker, 41 yards. Charbonnet, 6 carries for 22 yards. Geno gets a couple of yards. I mean, they can't even get to the 3-yard today. And sure, there's circumstances, they're running the ball late. It'd just be nice to generate some sort of push. And then 5 sacks today, too. And did Geno hold on to the ball a little longer than I would have liked? A couple of them? Yeah. But there's just also these just major breakdowns. When I saw LJ Collier getting to the quarterback, I mean, come on. There's just, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because it's been an issue for so long. And someday I truly believe I will see another great Seahawk offensive line. But it ain't now. There's some good pieces. I think that Charles Cross is a really good left tackle. I think Abe Lucas is going to be a very solid, as long as he can stay healthy, right tackle. I feel okay about the bookends. The guard play, and I'm hoping Christian Hayes could be an answer. I'm hoping that Olafami can be better as we get going. But it's just really bad right now. And it really limits their ceiling, I think. And that's frustrating because there's pieces here that suggest you can be I'm not going to say Super Bowl contender, but you can be a team that's in the mix, in that mix. But there are some pieces as well that suggest that they're not close. There are some pieces there suggest that they are much further away than they are close. A hot-ish take. I don't think Geno played his best. Well, I know this isn't a hot-ish take. It would be silly to say Geno played his best game because he's played some absolutely phenomenal football games. So saying it was his best game would be silly. I think there were times where Geno struggled, and in particular in the fourth quarter. That interception was so bad, and it can't happen. You're driving. You got a chance to make it a 16-3 game. You have a chance to put this game away, and you make a bad decision. And then that very next drive, the next time they touch the football, it's not a bad decision. The check down to Walker is there, but it's a terrible throw, and it should have been intercepted. And what are we talking about here? It was a 13-6 game, and they would have been set up with excellent field position. Luckily, dude dropped the football. Hits the ground. By the way, I'm positive. I love the ability for them to make these clear and obvious calls to just get it over with. And obviously it was a turnover, so that would have been reviewed, but I love, or been reviewed anyway, is what I was trying to say. But I love how quick they're making these decisions on these obvious. Get the help from up there, make the change. If it's clear and obvious, you shouldn't have to throw a red flag. You should not be punished by bad calls from the ref. So, but that was not Geno's best. Now, he did have the nice touchdown throw to JSN, but I expect better from Geno, and I'm going to need better from Geno because the offense wasn't good enough today. The offense was not good enough. It produced all of 13 points. No, it didn't. It produced all of 10 points. Yeah. Forgot about the interception. Anyway, the offense has got to be better. Has to be better. You know what doesn't have to be better? Simply Seattle. Simply Seattle provides the very best in Seattle sports gear. Awesome stuff for the Seahawks, of course, but the Mariners, the Huskies, the Cougars, the Sounders, Storm, you can find it all at simplyseattle.com and enter code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order, MOLLYWHOP15. It's a great deal from great people. Really appreciate their support. Really appreciate you guys showing them support. MOLLYWHOP15. If you think you can't remember that or you just want some help, go into the description. There's a link right there. It makes it easy for you. Holidays are coming up. Great time to be buying some stuff, and I can send you guys my size if you guys want to get me something. All right, the positives. While I don't think the offense played a great game, I thought the receiving corps did a pretty nice job. Actually, let's start with Kenneth Walker, who I thought did a very nice job as a receiver. Outside of maybe he should have corralled that. In an ideal world, maybe he corrals that pass that's almost intercepted. But 93 total yards. So he's contributing even as he's not finding a lot of room, and he made the most of the room that he got. I thought the same thing for Charbonnet. The receiving corps, I thought, did a solid job. DK, not a huge game. JSN is just developing before our eyes, and it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see. And, you know, he already has better numbers than he did in his rookie year, in part because they're using him better than they did his rookie year. And, you know, it's made Tyler Lockett an afterthought, which, you know, isn't fun to see, but it's the right call. It's the right call that he should be the third option in terms of wideouts and at times the fourth option. You know, time comes for us all. And I'm not even saying that Tyler Lockett is an old man who can't get it done anymore. He's just not as good as DK Metcalf, and he's not as good as Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, yeah, it stinks to see these 2 for 20 games like he had, and he's had a few games kind of like that. But I think they're making the right call. All right, enough about this stupid offense. The defense was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, the only guy who goes off today is Trey McBride. He has 15 targets, 12 receptions, 133 yards. And, you know, if we were going to pick on anything for the defense, it's that I don't think these linebackers are great in coverage, but they deserve a ton of credit for what they did against the run. And really what they did against Murray too. You know, Murray has 285 yards, a lot of that in the fourth quarter, a lot of it when they had to throw. But I thought the secondary did a solid job, and I thought the run defense was phenomenal. As good as it gets. They found nothing. They had one rush for over 10 yards, and this is a good rushing attack. Really good rushing attack. The difference between, and look, I don't mean to insult Jerome Baker. I wish him nothing but good stuff. And just blaming Jerome Baker is silly. The difference of this front seven with Ernest Jones there compared to Jerome Baker is night and day. Night and day. He is just a much more complete football player than Baker is. And he was phenomenal today. I thought Tyrese Knight, minus a couple of coverage gaffes, was really good as well. The linebackers were excellent. Really just those two, because that's really the only two that you saw. But you saw Boye Mafe get a sack, and the pass rush was excellent today. Leonard Williams is a stud. And I don't think Leonard Williams was playing like a stud earlier in the year, or at least not up to what they needed him to play at. Like, when you look at, and there's still issues with this defensive line, right? But they needed Leonard Williams to play at this level in order for this defense to work. And he wasn't. He wasn't. And he sure is now. Today was phenomenal. The 2.5 sacks, couple of big stops. Really good player. Really, really good player. And Byron Murphy's coming into his own, just the 2 tackles, but you see what he can do in terms of, generating traffic. You can't double team Leonard Williams because you've got a Byron Murphy there. Jerron Reed played a solid game. We talked about the secondary. The pass rush, I already know, I mentioned it, was outstanding. This was their best defensive effort because, yeah, they had the game against the Dolphins where they only give up the 3 points, and they had a couple of decent ones earlier in the year, but they were facing crap shacks. The Cardinals are not a crap shack. Do I think they're a great team? No. Do I love answering easy questions? Yes. But this was a legitimate offense that has had success in 2024. And they dominated. They absolutely dominated. Holding them to field goals on the 2 drives that they do score was excellent work. Excellent work. And that happens because you can't run against them, or they couldn't today. James Conner had 7 carries for 8 yards. 7 carries from James Conner for 8 yards. Can't ask for much more than that. This was a guy who had 697 yards and was averaging a pretty nice yards per attempt the last time I looked. James Conner's a good player, 4.4 coming into today. So you completely held that in check. Like, held in check is the understatement of understatements. And if your defense can play like this, and if your offense can go in, and look, today was not ideal conditions. So, hopefully we get some nice clear weather going forward because this offense needs it. But if your defense plays like this and you get a semblance of the offense that you were getting against Atlanta or even the San Francisco game, you've got it. San Francisco game might be a stretch there, but you know what I'm saying. If you can play to the top of this offensive's capabilities, you've got a chance to be really good. You've got a chance to be really good. So you're 6-5. You're at the top of the division. You control your own destiny. Next up, you've got a bad Jets team. Bad. On the road, but bad. And the Seahawks have looked better on the road than they have at home. I mean, that's a game that you absolutely should win. Absolutely should win. So it's all in your hands now. And if you can win that game against Arizona, in Arizona, you're going to be feeling really good. We got to get there. They got to get there. I guess we, as a collective, have to get there. But this is good. This was a good win. It was an ugly win, but there was some beauty in that ugly. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Really appreciate the support. Would love to get to 1,800 subscribers by the end of November. We're really close. I think 24 away, something like that. Very much appreciate it. See you next time, and good job, defense.